Hey, welcome back. This is Rick Garza here once again to talk to you about the character and the habits and the life of a professional sales athlete. It's an exciting day today as we celebrate our independence as a country, but it's also an exciting day for me as I step back and realize how I created my independence by the grace of God as He changed my life over all these years. So this is a special message for every professional sales athlete and would challenge you to consider the following. You know, people always say, don't put God in a box because you make Him too small. And I used to believe that, but I've got a different belief system, and I want to share that with you. My belief system is that it's not so much, am I putting my God in a box? The question is, how big is my God box? Because no matter what I think of who God is and what He can do, it's still too small. You know, He said in His word that your thoughts and my thoughts are so different from each other that you can't even comprehend. My ways are so different from your ways you can't even understand. And if we had enough time to kind of reflect back on all the things that have been created for us here on earth, the environment, our lives, our families, just the creation of our own bodies, we'd be really stretched to try to take God and take Him outside of a box. But we can, at times, find ourselves making that box too small and saying, can God really do that? Well, the fact is, there's nothing that is impossible, whether it's in sales, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's with our health or with our life. My challenge to you and my question is, how big is your God box? You know, Joshua in the Bible said that there was a time that there was a major battle, and he believed God to be big enough and a big enough God box to stop time. And it was written that he did, and he used that time to defeat the enemy. There was a Shunammite woman in the Old Testament whose son had passed away. But her God box was so big that she believed that God could bring him back from his death. And as you read the story of the Shunammite woman and Elijah the prophet, you'll find out that that's exactly what happened. And there was a blind Bartimaeus in the New Testament. And even though he was blind, his belief that the God box was so big that God could heal him of his blindness. And that's exactly what happened for him. Now you say, well, that's just in the Bible, or that's just religious stories. I happen to believe them. And I've lived many, many situations in my life that as long as I didn't limit the size of my God box, I could give Him free rein to do anything and everything that I needed in order to honor Him and to meet the basics of what we all do as a professional sales athlete, and that is to sell. I'll give you some snippets of stories where I realized that God is unlimitless. And even though many years past I was put in a situation that I had to deliver or go find something else outside of the company that I was a part of, I knew God could do what He needed to do, but I needed to do my part. Joshua had to fight the battle. The Shunammite woman had to cry out to God and go seek the prophet. Bartimaeus, the blind gentleman, had to cry out to Christ and reach out to Him with words of faith. I had to do my part. I had to act. I had to go and knock on those doors, build those relationships, but realize that if something was going to happen, it was outside of my realm of control, and God delivered in my sales career. I can talk to you about situations where when things were at its darkest, because I realized how big my God box could be, I didn't give up. And the net result is, by not giving up, doors opened up for me that I would have never ever thought possible, because I kept the right mindset of believing that I need to continue to expand this God box and give God the freedom and the ability to do whatever he wants to do and not limit him based upon our concepts and our thoughts. So I want to challenge you this day, this 4th of July, this Independence Day, and ask you, how big is your God box? What situations are you going through in your sales career, in your relationships, in your health, your finances? And maybe you put God in a box that's so small that you're trying to do it all yourself. I'm telling you that there is no limit to how big that God box can be. So I want to challenge you to stretch that box to the left, to the right, forward and backwards, up and down, and watch what happens when you allow God to work in your life and you do your part to be the best professional sales athlete you can be. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.